A former police officer in court on charges related to this arrest, which sparked unrest in La Mesa. The first of San Diego's shipment of the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine being administered to people this morning here. And after getting guidelines from the state, the Padres explaining how they plan to handle ticket purchases and having fans in the stands this season. ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Hello there. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Virginia Cha. The former La Mesa police officer at the center of this controversial arrest caught on video last year appearing virtually in court today on a charge of falsifying his police report. Let's get to ABC 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie for the latest. Hello, Mary.
Yeah, good morning, Virginia. Matthew Dagas, formerly Officer Dagas, was in court virtually. This was his arraignment on that one charge of falsifying his police report in the arrest of Amari Johnson last year. So we didn't see Dagas in court. His attorney entered his not guilty plea. The complaint alleges that Dagas filed a police report containing false information regarding the reason for Johnson's arrest, as well as his actions. The arrest happened May 27th of last year. The video went viral soon after, and it showed the tense interaction between Dagas and Johnson. Dagas seen shoving Johnson down into a seated position on a bench, handcuffing him and arresting him at Grossmont Trolley Station. Johnson was told he was arrested for assaulting an officer. After body cam video of the arrest was released, La Mesa PD dropped the charges against Johnson and placed Dagas on administrative leave pending their investigation. That video, though, fueled anger and frustration about racial injustice and police brutality in the days after George Floyd was killed at the hands of police in Minneapolis. In La Mesa, protests on May 30th turned violent with stores robbed and buildings burned. Dagas was ultimately fired in August. He lost an appeal to be reinstated in December, and then in January he was charged. His attorney said in a statement at that time that Dagas denies criminal wrongdoing, that he's looking forward to clearing his name in court. If he is convicted, he faces up to 3 years in prison. His next court appearance will be April 19th for the preliminary hearing. We're live in El Cajon. Mary McKenzie, ABC 10 News.
Thank you, Mary. Well, some of the Friar faithful may get the chance to cheer on the Padres at Petco Park beginning on opening day. ABC 10 News reporter Marie Cornell joining us live from home. Marie, the Padres just held a virtual news conference and mentioned San Diego may soon be eligible for a tier change.
Yeah, Virginia, so during this Zoom meeting, the CEO for the Padres basically alluded that in a few hours, an announcement will be made saying that San Diego County is eligible to move into a less restrictive tier. But as you know, as we've been reporting, you have to stay within the framework of a specific tier for a number of weeks before you can officially move into it. Either way, the Padres say they are ready to welcome back fans, and that will start on opening day.
We may start with no fans. We may start with reduced capacity of 20-25%. That will likely and hopefully increase, and maybe even towards the back half of the season get to something that's closer to full capacity, including for the postseason.
The Padres say 3 weeks ago they sent out a survey to their 7,000 season ticket holders. At the time, 70% said they wanted to opt in and attend games, with 30% choosing to opt out. But as of this morning, that has changed, and more season ticket holders are choosing to attend games. So this means right now there won't be any single tickets available to the public because of capacity restrictions. The Padres say that could change, and they are literally using every inch of Petco Park to safely seat people. Remember, fans will be seated in pods of no more than 6 seats that are at least 6 feet apart, and masks will be required. Now, when asked what fans may notice in terms of changes at Petco Park, we are told they did have to make some adjustments to some of the amenities involving beverages and food, and you will also notice a lot more hand sanitizing stations. Reporting from home, Marie Cornell, ABC 10 News.
Thank you, Marie. This morning, some people became the first San Diegans to receive the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine. Local firefighters were on hand to administer those doses in Balboa Park. Crews also fanned out across the county for appointments for the J&J shot as part of the ongoing effort to get people in rural areas vaccinated. Meanwhile, the city of San Diego this morning also administering part of that new shipment to members of the homeless community being housed at the convention center. The staff there also receiving the vaccine. The residents are being relocated later this month, and officials say the single-dose Johnson & Johnson shot is particularly good for the homeless, so they won't have to worry about setting up a follow-up appointment. Meanwhile, new research suggests the Pfizer vaccine may be effective against some of the variants causing concern. Pfizer scientists conducted a study in a lab to see how the vaccine fared against variants from the UK, Brazil, and South Africa. They say it was strong against both the UK and Brazilian mutations. They say it was less effective against the South Africa variant, but still, quote, robust. The House will continue to review revisions to the COVID relief bill today. House leaders say there is a lot to look at. The vote is more likely to happen tomorrow now instead of today. The House already passed its own version, but because the Senate made some changes after that, the new version needs House approval again before it can go to the president. The bill includes $1,400 checks for people making up to $75,000 a year. It also includes $300 a week jobless benefits through the summer. The White House says stimulus checks could go out by the end of this month once the bill is passed and signed. And with that bill expected to pass through Congress soon, San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria laying out how the money from it will impact our city. His office says the city is going to receive nearly $300 million in funding that will help jumpstart San Diego's economic recovery. The city is still waiting to see the final version of that bill to iron out the details. But this morning, Mayor Gloria outlined the foundation of his plan for using that local aid. We have a reporter following that right now. We'll have details for you on later editions of 10 News and on abc10news.com. Right now, jury selection is underway in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. The proceedings kicking off this morning after a slight delay due to a dispute over the charges against Chauvin. Court TV is following this trial closely this morning. Shanley Painter brings us the latest on what's happened so far in the courtroom.
It's day 2 in the trial of Derek Chauvin here in downtown Minneapolis, and the judge moving forward with jury selection today. Now, before that happened, the attorneys with the judge took up a couple of more pretrial motions, or motions in limine, before the court. One of those had to do with the defense motion to limit the testimony of one of the bystanders during the George Floyd incident back Memorial Day 2020, the off-duty firefighter. The judge agreeing with the defense to limit her testimony, that she could not say if she would have interfered that day, she could have saved George Floyd's life. So the jury won't hear that particular part of her testimony. Then, once jury selection started, the judge brought in about 6 potential jurors, gave them general instructions, and then one by one they come in individually for the attorneys to ask them more detailed questions. So far, the defense has had to use one of its peremptory strikes against juror number 1. Today they have 15 strikes total they can use. The prosecution has about 9 strikes they can use for jurors that they want to dismiss without any reason whatsoever. Now, moving forward, this process this afternoon will involve the same thing. 6 more jurors will be brought in individually today for questioning until the goal of 12 jurors with 2 alternates is reached in the trial of Derek Chauvin. I'm Shanley Painter reporting in downtown Minneapolis for Court TV.
And you can keep up with that and more on Channel 5.3 or on CourtTV.com.